Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Genuine Chit-Chat. This is part 2 of my chat with the great and powerful Jonny Taylor. Obviously check out part 1 if you haven't listened to this one yet. This part, once again, is very similar to the ones of the podcasts with Bradley, as well as the last part with Jonny, where we just ramble on about God knows what. It's a mess. It's a good mess, you know. It's a comfortable, good, fun, interesting mess, but it's very little, there's no planning to it or anything, so it's quite organic. I mean, in this one, we talk about parks and recreation, we talk about Star Wars, we talk about football. I mean, I'm not into football hugely, and Jonny isn't into Star Wars, so we debate about that a little bit. We talk about time traveling and paradoxes, human memory. Jonny goes off on one about contactless card payments for a while, which is quite funny. We talk about Lord of the Rings a little bit, and Fleshlights, because, you know, those things go hand in hand. Japanese sex robots, The Office, as in the UK Office, the series. And also we talk about Fleshlights. We talk about loads of other stuff as well, but I thought, you know, some of those kind of stick out, I suppose, among the rest, even though a lot of them are Space Geek movies. Space Geek movies, series, sex, and memory, and time travelling. Well, I suppose it's a bit more than I thought. Oh well, I'm rambling. Just before I get started, I will say, I mentioned in this podcast the films Coco, Downsizing, and Early Man, which at the point of recording the podcast I hadn't seen. I have now seen these films, and instead of boring you with my thoughts on them at the start of this, what I'm going to do is I've recorded a little 2-minute-ish review of the 3 films, so I've just popped that right at the end. So after mine and Jonny's chat, you hear the usual little weird tone thing that I've got, and then it'll have me normally rambling on at the end until you're wishing that I wouldn't do it anymore. But no one's complained yet, so maybe I'll just keep doing it. Anyway, yeah, so if you want to check out the movie reviews, check that out at the end of this video. Wow, that's how I'm doing this terribly. Check out this. Check out the end of this podcast. Check out that, and also I'll mention what we're doing the following weeks and all that sort of usual jazz. I'm just going to let you guys crack on. So thanks as always for tuning in, and I'll be back at the end. Welcome to Genuine Chit Chat, where we have honest conversations with interesting people, and I'm your host, Mike Burton.
So I haven't actually watched Parks for about a year, but when I had my operation, I was off sick, so that was what I watched.
So how many seasons of Parks and Rec have you seen?
I'm pretty sure I've seen up to where she comes back and she's fallen when oh no, because there'll be a spoiler alert.
It don't matter. The show's pretty old.
I can't remember the names.
Which one? The blonde girl, blonde woman.
Yeah, what's her name?
Leslie Knope.
Yeah, Leslie Knope, right? Yeah, Leslie Knope comes back and like she like greets Ron Swanson and like they've fallen out and like she parts the scene and she says like there's some line like I have bangs, like I can't remember what it is she says, and that just sticks in my memory.
Well, that's the last season. I think you're only missing a few episodes from the last season.
Yeah, right. Okay, that was the last episode I watched.
Wow.
So, but I'm gonna need to have a.
I absolutely love Parks and Rec. Is one of, I think it's the best sitcom ever. I think that It's
I
Always Sunny in
wouldn't
Philadelphia.
go that far, but
that and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are my 2 favourites. Parks and Rec, the stories it goes for are amazing. The characters are fucking brilliant. I love Parks and Rec. I can't believe you haven't seen Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, but you've seen Parks and Rec. That's awesome.
Like I said, mate, got into binge watching it, and I proper fell in love with Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson is, all the characters in it are absolutely amazing. Donna is amazing.
Donna is
a hero. Leslie Knope is amazing.
Genuine.
Ben is amazing. I love I think Chris, where he's just like Anne, whatever her name is. It's like Leslie Knope, and he's like really happy. He's
Anne
like,
Perkins.
Anne Perkins.
Yeah,
that I love him. But Chris,
he's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's brilliant.
I love him, and I love Ben. And he's the master of like that game that he made, and he wears the Batman outfit at one point.
It took me a while to understand and to sort of warm to Ben.
See, I immediately love Ben. I was right on his wavelength immediately. I could see myself in him in a lot of ways, the way he is. And I love it when they're talking about little Sebastian. Everyone's like super... he just looks at the screen, he's just like, I have no idea about this pony. I really don't get what the big deal is. And then like, Leslie Knope is like, comes up and says, hey, what are you doing? Like, I'm just saying how much I love little Sebastian. And he just like, stares at the camera. It's like, the way they use the camera in that show is so brilliant. It's just so... I love it.
I think I enjoyed that because I'm a massive fan of The Office.
Well, the American one.
the English Office and the American.
I have yet to watch
Office.
the American one. Everyone keeps telling me to watch it. They say if I like Parks and Rec, I like the American one, and I have yet to watch it.
Yeah,
I really want to, but I need to download it. It's on Netflix.
A lot of the same. The lady that played so Rashida Jones.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's her name.
Yeah, Rashida Jones.
She who plays Anne Perkins. She's in a couple of seasons of the US Office.
Jim Carrey's on an episode or two, isn't he? And so Will Ferrell.
He's in one episode. Will Ferrell's in like sort of 2-3 episodes, which are just like
Do you like Will Ferrell? Do you like Will Ferrell and like Anchorman and stuff?
Yeah.
Have you seen both Anchorman films?
Yeah.
Love Anchorman.
Big fan of both of them. To be fair, I know the second one. A lot of the the people I went to the cinema to watch it with, they were like, it's crap, because we were well looking forward to it. Right? I think there must have been 10 of us.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like I don't go to the cinema very often.
Yeah.
Unlike you.
I haven't owned a Limitless card, bro. I have to make that. Pay 18. It's either 18 or 19 quid a month. I think it's 17.99 a month. So I think it's 18 quid a month. And it's just like you have to go at least like twice to basically break even, really. But that's the kind of a way. So you have to kind of go 3 or 4 times a month, ideally. And sometimes when it gets right now, I haven't really gone this year yet.
What films are on at the moment?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, the thing is I actually wrote. This is what kind of person I am. This podcast, because it's less talking about someone with like specific things. You're asking me like you're making me involve my own personal life and people finding out how weird I am with the cereal and stuff. But I made a list of films. Basically, it's not really anything that interesting out. There's something called The Greatest Showman out at the moment. I'm not interested in that. But there's a Disney film called Coco coming out on the 19th, which is next week. Downsizing with Matt Damon, that's 24th. Early Man, that's the guys who made Wallace and Gromit. That's their new film, 26th of January. Black Panther, the new Marvel film, February 12th. That I'm really looking forward to because I like all the Marvel movies. The Shape of Water, it's a Guillermo del Toro movie, and he made Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy, and I love him. Looks really interesting.
Guillermo del Toro.
Pan's Labyrinth, The Orphanage, Devil's Backbone, Kratos or something. Kronos, yeah. Him. He's got a new film coming out called The Shape of Water. There's a Tomb Raider, and that's February 14th. Then there's Tomb Raider coming out March 16th, which is my birthday, which is with the girl who's in a film called Ex Machina. She plays the AI in it, and it's the movie of the reboot of the games, which will make me quite brutal. Pacific Rim Uprising, Ready Player One, Isle of Dogs, new fucking Wes Anderson movie. There's quite a few. That's up till March 30th. They're the films that are coming out. So at the moment, there's Greatest Showman that I'm not interested in, and another couple of films I don't really give a crap about, or I've already seen. I've already seen Star Wars 3 times, and so when in the week of January 19th, 3 films come out, and I normally see like 1 film a week. So that week I might have to see 2, is that sort of thing. And then you really get your money's worth. When it gets to like the spring season, you get like 2 or 3 superhero movies, normally like 1 good comedy movie, like 1 or 2 good kids movies, then 1 or 2 indie movies that look kind of interesting, and then maybe a horror movie. And so it's like that over like 2-3 months. It's loads. You just think, fine, let's go to the cinema. What do you want to see? We can see any of these 3 movies. And if some of them are out long enough, you just go see them. And a lot of the time they're alright, and it's like enjoyable to watch them because it's cool to have watched it, to know about the film, to talk about it with other people, and to kind of have that under your belt in a way. But also, I'd say about 1 in 4, maybe 1 in 3 movies surprise you that you wouldn't necessarily have seen, or ones that are like, movies you go, I might see that maybe, and you just kind of don't. And then it comes out on Netflix, you go, yeah, I'll watch that, and then you kind of end up watching it. Those sorts of movies, and you're like, I've been kind of looking forward to seeing them to come out. When you've got the Odeon card, it's just like, let's fucking go. It's like, and it's just like any film that comes out that looks even vaguely interesting. It's like, I'll give it a go. Why not? I've got like 2 hours in the evening, or probably 2.5 hours. Just drive to Odeon.
I lose interest so quickly.
Yeah.
Like I told you with Star Wars.
I love movies, mate. Look at them.
Have you got any films?
400 something more. I think there's like 450 at the moment or something like that. Films, and there's 100 something seasons.
I tried watching Star Wars, and it was just like, what is this?
Which one did you watch? Did you watch Phantom Menace or New Hope?
I started off with A New Hope.
Yeah, but that is like a super old film, and it's really slow. It's a good movie, but the problem is...
what are these?
All
Stormtroopers? Stormtroopers.
all the best-
so scary.
all the best Star Wars moments and movies are part way. You have to like have seen the other ones. That's the problem, because you either have to start with Episode 1, Phantom Menace, which is widely considered the worst one, or you have to watch New Hope, which is really good when it gets into it, but it's also very, very slow. And the problem is you can't really watch any of the other ones randomly. You could maybe watch Rogue One, but it won't have any significance because you won't understand the universe of it all.
Why are there loads of like men dressed up in silly gear?
A Jedi. It's just robes. It's just like a religious
What's a
gown.
Jedi?
They're someone who harnesses the basically the Force, which is the energy that connects everyone, and you can harness it to use it in ways like powers and stuff.
Fucking listen to what you just said.
I know. I'm
That
over.
was a absolute load of nonsense.
I'm oversimplifying
it. I literally just oversimplify it. Yeah, it's a load of nonsense.
Of course it is. It's fantasy. That's what I love about it. It's just a complete escapism. It's just cool to think that. Imagine that in this world where you can just do all kinds of random crazy shit, and there's movies about it with people they're fucking having laser sword fights. It's cool, but I know how lame it kind of sounds, but it's just like, it's just cool to watch. Just watch this thing where people who can push each other across the room with their mind and electrocute each other with their mind, like people with big laser swords cutting people in half and shit. It's just like with spaceship battles of CGI that makes things that you could never, like cooler things that you can imagine, and all these great effects mixed with humor, and you're just watching these real great actors perform as these characters doing this great fantasy and this great imagination, and you could get enveloped in this world. And it's just, I just love it. There's so much to it. There's so many films, series, comics, books. It's just like, I'm not saying it's for everyone. I think if most people give Star Wars a proper chance, they would probably enjoy it because it is really cool to most people. That's why it's such a massive franchise. That's why it makes so much money. That's why everyone knows about it. Why it's such a cultural phenomenon. But some people
cannot get my head around
some
it.
Some people can't, and that's fine.
Darth Vader, he struts around like he's some sort of bad man. He's wearing a cape.
He can kill.
He's wearing a cape.
He can kill literally anyone. There's a reason he wears a cape. It's because the circuitry.
There's a reason he wears a cape, actually, John.
Yeah, there is. The circuitry in the back of his armor is. You can see on the front of his armor there's some buttons and stuff, but on the back there's also some wiring.
What do the buttons do?
Well, it's just I think it changes the breathing and stuff of it. I'm not fully sure. It depends on like if the suit gets damaged, you kind of use that as a control panel to kind of fix it in a way. But it's also there's wiring in the back, and the cape has got this. It's like strung with like woven with like strong metal, so it can has like slight. It's quite heavy, and it has quite good qualities to like protect the back gear. Because if he doesn't have the cape, you could see that. And if you can't have a casing over it or anything, because it's just it reduces the mobility of the armor, and it would probably overheat it. So it's just there are reasons for all these things. That's what I mean. The thing is, with Star Wars, what's weird about it, every single character you see in everything, right? Every individual person in the cantina, in any scene, all of them have a name and a backstory. There's a thing called Wikipedia.
Yeah, I don't
There's like
care.
thousands and thousands and thousands of articles about it. You don't have to look at them all.
He's walking around in the desert like he's wearing a dressing gown.
It's comfy and it's good for mobility. What's the problem with it?
It's not like just.
Why have you got a problem with someone wearing something like that?
Put a poncho on, be stylish.
Why is a poncho more acceptable than?
Do you know what? I'd have Star Wars, right? So that opening scene where they're all like lining up with the stormtroopers, and like the Darth Vader coming in, like I'm wearing a cape. Like, look at me, boys.
I can imagine.
God,
I would love to watch Star Wars with you as a podcast.
Oh my god!
And literally just have you talking over all of it, just the whole of the New Hope, and you just talking over literally every part of it, like doing the storm. She's like, pew pew pew. Oh, we missed them, sir. Oh, come on then, boys, let's go.
He's wearing a cape.
Stop.
He's wearing a cape. It's like
use the Force.
Like 6-year-old kids don't wear capes.
I've just explained to you the reason why he wears a cape, mate.
It was made. There's some other solution.
It was made in 1978. It was one of the first big sci-fi movies. It was one of those things where it was groundbreaking, and something that struck fear was capes. A lot of it was to do with the Nazism, and a lot of it was to do with the imagery from that. Darth Vader's helmet was used, part of Nazi helmets and army gear was used as inspiration for Darth Vader's helmet, because that was a thing to strike fear, and it's very regimented. The stormtroopers are meant to represent that sort of parallel of an army that will do nothing, will do anything at any cost just for the cause of their great leader, who's actually like a fascist who doesn't let free speech out. So these parallels that George Lucas put into a lot of them, and a lot of them he just didn't do it very subtly. But there's all sorts of depth to it that you can look at it so many different ways and perspectives. I don't really look at it in the warlike sense and the Nazism. I'm not that fussed about how the ideas came to him from Star Wars in that regard. I just like the whole universe, and I like knowing loads of shit about something that is not important, so there's no pressure to have to learn any quicker than I'm learning about it. It's nothing in life. Everything in life, you have to learn something to a degree of speed. When I want to do podcasts and stuff, I have to, when I want to release an episode and stuff, I have to look up audio details. When you want to do work and you learn a new thing at work and stuff and in a new job, you have to learn all this shit, and you have to learn it by a certain time, and you have to learn at this amount. With Star Wars, it doesn't matter if it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to read the next comic, or if it takes me an hour, because I go at my own pace. If I read it and I completely forget, I'll just read it again. Doesn't matter. No one's quizzing me on Star Wars. I just can listen. I can just absorb information about it at my own pace, and it's just easy to escape and just nice to kind of immerse yourself in and think about. And it's nice to have these thought processes. I talk with Josh about Star Wars and just have these discussions that mean nothing. There's no pressure. No amount of this conversation is going to have any impact on the real world, and it's just so relaxing.
Do you think it's a case of my lack of imagination?
No, because it guides you. Because
I really struggle with fantasy. I mean, I love
comics, mate. They've got loads of comics.
Films about Britain,
There's a lot of darkness
This
in
is
Star
England.
Wars. There's a lot of darkness in Star Wars that happens. People get cut in half. You have people killing their family members. You get children being killed.
Yeah, but why are they dressed like bellends?
Why do you keep bringing it back to that? Why is it bothering you so much?
Because,
You're just picking holes in something that you're listening to everything I'm saying and you're absorbing it, and that actually sounds alright, but the thing is, I can attack this one thing that I disagree with.
Yeah, just like...
So I'm not going to make you watch it, mate. If you don't want to watch Star Wars,
they're wearing silly helmets. Do you need to... What's your name? Darth Vader. What's your... I'm not going to call you that. What's your real name? It's Sam.
It's Anakin.
It's Anakin?
Anakin Skywalker.
What? Darth Vader?
Yeah.
That's his real name?
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker?
Yeah. You watch one of the films where he becomes a
What
Sith and he
name.
kills loads of people. There's a part where he gets all his arms and legs cut off and falls into lava.
Do you know what I'd have?
Screaming and burning.
Like that opening scene, Darth Vader walking through with his cape, I'd have Reggie and Ronnie and 50 Millwall mob all just coming in, just tearing in, just
he
just
uses
pulled
before,
up.
He has before taken on. There was a comic I've been reading actually called Vader Down, and it's fantastic. He takes on several rebel squadrons, and using the Force he deflects all blaster fire. People get near him. He's got a laser sword, mate, that he can move it in speed that you can't even fathom. He can use the Force to just do that, and he'll push. He literally grabs rocks and they're the size of this room and throws them at spaceships that are flying around shooting at him, and he's deflecting laser bolts coming towards him with his laser sword. He can throw it and control it. A sword, imagine just a literal normal sword coming at you, and someone can control it. It's coming at you, what can you do? You try and grab it, it moves out the way, it slices you. Literally 50 people gone. He uses the Force, he can lift people up and snap their necks with one hand lift up and crunch. He literally
even 50 Millwall,
easily
top Millwall boys.
It doesn't matter the top boys.
Top Millwall boys.
Yes, of course he could. Just even some dude who had a sword that he could control with his mind would kill almost all of them anyway, and he has so much more beyond that. That's the power. That's why he's so revered. He can destroy hundreds of people. He killed, he created the Jedi Purge. He literally hunted down and killed more Jedi than any Sith ever has.
Who would win in a fight between Darth Vader and...
You're going to say something really lame, some normal human. You're going to say Superman or something really average.
I can't think of anyone, right?
You're useless.
I can't. I'm trying to find someone that'll just set you off and wind you up, but I can't. So I'm actually stitching myself up with my own spite.
I was liking that. I was liking you winding me up and letting me go off these rants about Star Wars.
Honestly, it's so much fun.
I know.
So much fun.
I love doing it.
I told you before. I'd take you out on nights out. I'd pay you to come out on nights out.
Just chat. Just wind me up. Just
wind
me up and just let me go. Just let me go off on one.
Honestly, mate, and I think it is lack of imagination, because I've
Realism.
never been able to understand fantasy films. I think the closest thing to a fantasy film I thoroughly enjoy is Back to the Future. All three, banging, but that's not fantasy because time travel's real.
So do you like the butterfly effect?
Uh,
Ashton Kutcher.
Years ago, mate.
It is
I've lived a long life.
amazing. You need to watch it again. It's so good. It's one of the best time travel films.
Like years and years ago. I'll give it a bash. Time travel's real.
Got it.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Yeah. That'll be my Friday night film then.
The paradox of time travel, though, is I've thought of a solution to the paradox of time travel. If you travel back in time, you would enter a world where you travel back in time and did something, and therefore you would never have traveled back in time to stop that thing happening. Therefore, it would never have happened. But because of that, it means that you would have stopped it happening, and therefore it's a paradox. Because if you do stop it happening, it means you never go back in time to stop it. So if you stop it, if you don't go back and stop it happening, it happened. Therefore, you do go back in time to stop it. So it's an impossible paradox. But I figured out how it could potentially make sense. If you did that, what it would do is the paradox would create an alternate universe that you would enter into both, and both scenarios would end up playing out.
You are really starting to bounce against my intellectual ceiling, mate.
And that would just, both of them, just literally, you do a paradox and you go back to two worlds, one where you did do it and one where you didn't do it, and that's how it happens, where you have alternate worlds.
If that so many layers.
If time travel did exist, imagine doing that. That could be a possibility, and that could explain how when there's people say, if you could travel back in time, just travel back in time and tell me you travelled back in time. Well, maybe that has happened in other universes, or maybe it can't happen because you do that, and then it just makes you into the person you are again and splits the universe in two. You don't know the complexities of what could happen. You know what's interesting? I've heard about it on a podcast recently. Is on the Joe Rogan podcast they spoke about this a little bit, and I've heard about it on other stuff as well. I can't remember what the name of it is. The person who came up with it, this idea, but basically in Star Trek, you know, when you teleport and stuff, if that became a possibility, like they're talking about, they're trying to do it with. I think they've managed to do it with something now, like an absolutely minuscule thing. They've moved it like a minuscule amount of distance. I can't really remember the details, but I think they've managed to do it on some tiny level. But it's like if you teleport someone, the idea is you basically split all the atoms apart and then rebuild the atoms in the exact same way on the other side. And even if you manage to get all the memories in the same place, would you actually still be the same you, or would it just be a completely identical copy of you that had all your exact memories, so you'd think it was you and it wasn't actually the same person? So you like die and a version of you comes back after the transport. You see what I mean? You split apart as atoms, so you become nothing, and then the exact order that everything is in to make you gets put back together. Would that be you, or would that just be killing you and making an identical copy of you with all the same memories?
I'm starting to show that I've only got 5 GCSEs, aren't I?
No. But, you know.
You are bouncing against my intellectual ceiling, mate. Yeah. You lost me at the first paradox.
The first paradox.
Or I didn't get it, did I?
Well,
do you know what I mean? But that's the thing. Like something like that, because it's got like real people, like Back to the Future and like Butterfly Effect. I mean, my memories are, I can't really comment because I cannot remember much about that film, because it was years ago that I saw it.
Yeah.
But it's real people, not people like walking in spaceships that aren't fucking real, like strutting around in silly leather boots. What's he doing?
Are you trying to wind me up again?
Nah, but it's like I think it, like my lack of imagination. Like I don't think I've got a lack of imagination, but I just do not get like the whole. I don't get Star Wars. I don't get Harry Potter.
Star Trek, Lord of the Rings.
Star Trek, what's that? I mean, at least like they had some decent clobber on.
Decent clobber.
Star Trek, yeah. They had some
decent
clobber.
What are some other things that you? What are some other things that you don't like?
What else don't I like, Michael? Lord of the Rings stuff.
I'm not going to try and make you like fantasy or anything. If you're not into it, that's completely fine. I'm not really.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'm not judging anyone that likes it, but you are dickheads. But literally, I can't get it. Like, I mean, my favourite films, like, you know, Quadrophenia, Football Factory, love it. Yeah,
I haven't seen it. It's one of the few films I haven't seen yet.
Rise of the Foot Soldier. That's a really good one. It's not everyone's bag. It's not the biggest budget film, but I like going back in time. It's only recently I've watched The Big Lebowski.
Oh,
Great
love
film.
that movie.
I mean, like, I don't
Coen
know
Brothers,
why.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, that's just it. The Coen
Fantastic.
Brothers. I mean, I've
Jeff Bridges, the dude.
Coolest
character.
I watched another Coen Brothers film recently.
It wasn't Men Who Stare at Goats, was it?
No, that's on the list.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh, is it?
I'd like you to see it. I'd like you to see it, but I just did not get it at all.
It's
just so weird. Burn After Reading.
Lewin.
Oh, Inside Llewyn Davis. I've
Yes.
got that on Steelbook.
Yeah, I watched it. I don't
that's
know. I
Oscar
really,
Isaac.
really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
It's a really nice film, isn't it?
And,
I don't want to watch it again, but it's really good.
Yeah, I think what I like about the Coen Brothers film is
It just
like
plods along.
when it finishes, like you're still talking about it.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men. That's one of the best films I've ever
I've
seen.
got that on Steelbook as well.
Wow.
That film is
Wow.
That's one of those films where you just watch it and it finishes you like, that film was just like, it's not necessarily one of my favourite films, but it is objectively one of the best films of the last 25 years. Like, it is absolutely fucking brilliant. It's probably, I'd say it's in the top 100 of best films ever made, because it's just like, it's one of those films where I describe as I could not change any part of it to make it better. It's just one of those. It's just like, this film is just fucking perfect. Every actor in it is perfect for the role.
Oh my god.
Because, like, for example,
yeah.
I love Star Wars, watching Star Wars more than I love watching any other film, but I do not by any stretch of the imagination think Star Wars is the best films ever made. I think Empire Strikes Back, you could maybe argue, is in the top 10, but Empire's list of 500 best films ever, Empire Strikes Back was number 1, so it's not just me who shares that sort of view. But apart from maybe that, in part of it, I think films like Fight Club, I think that film's amazing.
Brilliant, mate.
Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, amazing.
That I hadn't watched that
Amazing.
till about 2 years ago, and then it was like...
You know, I watched the other day. I watched Escape from Alcatraz on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Clint Eastwood. Oh my god, mate! I can't believe I watched it, and I was like, "Why have I never seen this? Brilliant!" There's an amazing moment, and you got to think that this is set in the 50s, and there's obviously you got the white fellas and the black fellas in the prison. Oh, sorry, in Alcatraz. And Clint Eastwood goes over to speak to the top boy of the black fellas. His name's English. He goes right to the top of these stairs and has a chat with this fella and walks off. And English, the black fella, he says to Clint Eastwood, "Now there's only 2 reasons why you wouldn't sit down. 1, because you're scared. Or 2, because you hate the N-word."
I see.
I can't even use it. And then Clint Eastwood sits down next to him, and with a smile on his face, he goes, "I'm not scared. I just hate."
Oh, wow.
But it's like an iconic moment. It's like they have some cracking banter.
Yeah.
And they're like good pals from then on.
Yeah.
Like he's in with the top boy.
Yeah.
Of the prison.
It's always
it's an amazing film, and like, you know, I love that scene in particular because it was like that is cracking. That's cracking.
It's like it was like, obviously I've said Shawshank is amazing. There's a film as well that I was thinking of the other day, Forrest Gump. I think that's one of the best films.
Great film. I mean, I watched it as a kid and I just didn't understand it. But you look
not
back,
watched it since?
Yeah. I've watched it since, and some of the the social commentary is just it's mind blowing.
It's amazing how there's so much in one film. There's like almost every genre in one film.
Well, yeah, it's like some of it's quite actually
apart from horror,
quite disturbing.
Well,
like
there's the
Forrest
war
Gump.
scenes, there's depressing scenes. The bit where he's crying over Jenny's grave, I can't handle that. When he's talking about how big a little Forrest has got at the end, and he's talking about how he wishes that she was still alive and she could see him, and he's like really smart in school and he's getting like the highest grades, and he's like crying over her grave at the end. So I literally can't watch that now. I used to be able to watch it, can't now. As I've gotten older, I'm way more empathic. I'm just, especially with movies and stuff, get much more emotional when it comes to movies now. I haven't actually cried at any films yet. I've almost cried at a few, but yeah.
Oh no, I don't cry at films. I cry at Children in Need and Comic Relief.
Oh,
that's really, really difficult watching because it's like, oh look, it's James Corden and I don't know, like
John Bishop or something.
Tess Daly and Davina McCall, and they're going to do some funny stuff, and David Walliams pops up, Claire Baldwin, she's always fucking there, isn't she? And Claire Baldwin, she's always there, of course she's there. And then, you know, you're having a laugh, because, you know, they're doing a funny EastEnders skit where, I don't know, David Beckham turns up or something, and then like oh, you know, this is George, and his wife died, and now he hasn't got anyone. It's like, oh fuck, oh, don't show me any more of George. I'm going, I don't want to see any more of George. And George is like, I've got no one since she went. And I'm like, oh God. And it's like, I'm like, right, I've got to donate. Because like, if they're asking for money to go towards like a helpline for people like that. And it's like, do you know what? It's heartbreaking. And then it's like, and now we've got fucking Gavin and Stacey. Like, oh God, I can't deal with that. Like, oh, fucking Nessa meets fucking Noel Edmonds. I don't know, and like, yeah, I don't know about you, but I often watch that when it comes on, and I find it's difficult watching.
You can't even get normal TV on this TV. I've got Netflix, and we've got like we've got so many game consoles here. We've got the Xbox 360, a Wii U. Josh recently got a Switch. We got a Nintendo Wii, we got a Nintendo 64, we got a PS4, and we got a Steam Link.
Are
as well as a Blu-ray player.
virgins?
No. That's pretty much all mine, except Josh has got the Switch and Reese has got the Steam Link, and the rest of it's all mine. It's what I've accumulated over the years. It's what happens.
To be fair, I've got an Xbox. So.
Which is, I just got other stuff. I like, just like with my music and my films, I like a little bit of everything. There's not like one specific genre or thing that I like the most. Well, the game consoles, I don't really have a favourite because I just like certain amounts of everything. Are you tapping on your leg?
Yeah, mate. I can't sit still.
I don't think I've even heard you doing anything since this.
Yeah, I just can't sit still, mate.
I should have got you a fidget cube.
Mate, yeah, I've had a go on one. Yeah, the bloke at work's got one. He said,
just get one.
Yeah, have a go on this, John. You need this. I'm like, yes, have a go on that. It's banging, mate. It's a little Spider-Man one. It's got like a little ball.
You can buy them on Amazon for like £10.
Yeah, but I don't go on Amazon. Amazon's on the internet.
What are you so afraid of?
Because
you're a 30-year-old Cockney Southern mod.
I don't know if I'm a Cockney.
You're a Southern Cockney-ish mod punk.
I'm from Loxheath, mate.
That's where I grew up, actually. That's where I went to a.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, that discussion, didn't we?
Yeah.
But no, it's just kind of funny, all these little mixes of things to make you what you are, and yet you're so scared of the internet. Which, if you had the internet, do you know how much joy you'd find?
No, I don't know. I jest, but I don't like my details being online. Yeah. I don't have location services on my phone.
I have them off for most things. I have them on for things I have to have them on, like my Google Maps. Like I have to use, like if I'm using a sat nav, I literally have to have it on.
I delete my data every week. I just don't want my passwords being stored on there. Don't want card details on there. I won't do Apple Pay. Don't like contactless.
You know, I contactless.
Do
you think you not using it is someone going to prevent someone else from using it?
No, I just don't like the idea. I just don't like the idea. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. It makes me feel uneasy.
Why?
Just like that. So, like, if you drop your card, someone can just go into Greg's and get 15 pies.
If you've already got contactless, it's automatically done. So even if you don't use it, someone else can still nick your card and use it anyway. So you not using it isn't preventing anyone else from using it.
Thwarted.
You just got to try new things. You got to think, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Listen, mate, this is what discussion's about. You know, you can say something. So we'll go back to stuff earlier in the podcast, and people will be like, "He's a dick. What's he saying? What's he saying?" Because there's no context, no narrative, like we were saying earlier. But then we'll come back to it as we're sort of summarising later. Oh, he's all right actually. You know what I mean?
No one's gonna have any problem with you, Johnny.
No, I jest.
You don't have to worry. But all you got to think of is what I do. Pretty much everything I do in life is just weighing up the pros and cons of the worst and best case scenario. The worst case scenario of contactless is literally nothing, because no matter what you do, someone can still nick your card and do it. So, and the best case scenario is you save 10-15 seconds per day.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a solution to my problem. Still don't fucking like it though.
Why are you? What about it makes you uneasy? What is the thing that you don't like about it? Do you not like the ease of it? Is that it's a security issue to you? It feels too easy.
Well, yeah, and not just that. Like it's easier for me. Like you can pay contactless in the bookies.
But you know you can, even if you don't use it, you can still do that anyway. It's willpower. If you haven't done it up till this point, then you don't have to do it because you've shown that you don't need to do it. And if you're going to do it, you're going to use your pen anyway, because like the small thing of not typing in, like the difference between just putting your card against the screen when they say press it compared to putting it in the bottom slot and then typing in a 4-digit code and enter, it's about 15 seconds difference, maybe 25 seconds difference if the card reader's slow. Then you set your card out and you get it back, and it's like, well, that saves maybe a day, a week. That probably saves what, 2 minutes of my life.
But someone can like scan it out your pocket.
But even if you're not using it, cards have still got that anyway. So you're not using it, but people still do it to you. But then no one does that.
You're still, without having contactless, you are still, the risk is still minimised. That's my point.
But what I'm saying to you is that all cards have become contactless.
All right, okay.
Have you got your cards on?
Well done, Michael.
Have you got your cards on?
You've won this argument.
Have you got the cards? Have you got the cards in your pocket?
Honestly, mate, well done.
I'm just curious.
Fucking roses or some celebrations. Well done, mate. No, well done for winning the argument. Well done, mate. Honestly.
You should see his face.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition. Yes, you're right. I am being completely irrational about contactless. I have no argument. I have no basis or foundation for argument. Well done. Well done. You've had me on toast. Thanks, mate.
I love it so much. Oh man. Just in case
I have to do this again, so I'm sorry.
Just in case anyone doesn't realise, Johnny was smiling the entire time of that. He's just happy he can do this audio and I'm not recording him, because he would not be able to stop just cracking up.
Yeah,
if I was had audio recording you where you could see it as well, if I had like a screen up here and it was just the camera focused on you, and you could just always see yourself in the corner, I can imagine how crazy you'd be acting. You would not be able to handle it. You'd be like staring at yourself like, I keep seeing myself move in the background. It's off-putting.
It'll keep
I put it a slight delay. Put a 1 second delay at you as well. So you're doing it and you're just noticing yourself do something, and then you know, so it's not the same. You're not watching them both happen at the same time. Your arm's moving. I've put a 1 second delay on it specifically, or like a 2 second delay. So as you're doing stuff, you're just seeing you doing something else in delay, and it'll fuck with your mind.
We'll do that one.
I'm not doing that. I can't be asked. I'd have to connect.
We'll do the Star Wars.
I would love to chuck. I would love to chuck on Star Wars and just fucking have you commentate the whole thing. I think it'd be hilarious. I think it would ruin your chances of ever getting into Star Wars, but I don't know if there is any chance. I just need to try and figure out what it is that you fear about fantasy so much. I think you're blocking yourself off. I think you're blocking yourself off to imagination. I think you're trying not to delve into that world because you're scared. You're scared you're going to delve too deep.
And The Hobbit, if he didn't have stupid ears and he was, in a suit.
I just want to clarify, he's never seen any of the Hobbit or Lord of the Rings films. Continue.
Martin Freeman, I've seen him in The Office. I've seen him in plenty of stuff. Fargo, he's cracking. Sherlock, brilliant. The Office.
I'm glad that you've seen Sherlock, and I'm glad that what was the other thing you said?
Fargo.
Yeah, Fargo and Sherlock are both brilliant.
Brilliant. But, I cannot take him seriously with what he's wearing. He looks like fucking Rumpelstiltskin.
He is a hobbit. He's 4 foot. He's got big feet. He's meant to look silly.
Hobbit.
That's the point.
He's a hobbit.
Everyone in all the movies say that to him all the time.
What, you know a person? No, I'm a hobbit. What's a hobbit? Where it's a
everyone treats them like that in that world. In that world, the people are talk down to them. They are treated like that.
Silly name. Yeah, no, we're just sort of a couple of steps up from the borrowers.
Well,
like the hobbits and the borrowers have formed like some sort of small personal allegiance.
You're acting like there's no sense of realism in these things. Lord of the Rings has incredibly compelling and realistic characters. They're just different races, and basically, Hobbits do shrug off hobbits and stuff like that. Some places won't serve them because some people don't like them. They're like they call them pests and that sort of thing. They are treated like in certain places. They are treated like second class citizens, and it is realism. It is realistic. A lot of Lord of the Rings in a lot of the ways the characters are, and a lot of the way the social dynamics of the world works. There's a character. One's an elf and one's a dwarf, and elves and dwarves always hate each other. Like they just hate each other.
Michael, I don't know what an elf is. Can you please tell me what an elf is?
It's just a basically slightly taller, stronger, faster human being with pointy ears and is. I don't know. I can't remember if they're immortal or if they just live for hundreds of thousands of years. I know it's at least. I think it's thousands of years. But I can't remember if they're just immortal till they get killed.
Are there any living elves?
Of course there's not.
Or is it elves?
It's elves.
Oh, sorry, I'm not.
Of course there's not elves.
What's a pixie?
I think a pixie is similar to a fairy. It's just like you could almost call it like a small elf with wings that's more... I think a pixie is very similar to a fairy, really. But
Are there fairies in The Hobbit?
I don't know.
Why not?
I can't remember, if I'm being honest.
Why not? You don't know the answer.
I don't think so. I'm not fully sure, to be honest. I can't remember. I'm not as well versed in those films as I should be. I've only seen the Hobbit films each once or twice, and I've seen Lord of the Rings each twice, I think, except the third one I've seen about 5 or 6 times. But I'm going to watch some more extended edition soon. But
in this like fantasy world, do Harry Potter and Darth Vader know each other?
There's not one fantasy world. There's different universes. I know you're fucking with me, John. I'm feeding you.
Oh mate, no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I do enjoy talking about films. I mean, there's so much that I don't. I
just really want to get down to the deep root issue of why you hate imagining.
Well, no, it's
why
not
you don't
hate.
like
I mean,
things that aren't realistic, even though there are realistic elements.
I can't get my head around them, mate. I cannot get my head around them.
I'm curious, what do you think when you see them? Do you just think they're all silly and ridiculous?
Yeah, I mean, what was
do you
the
think
last?
Sci-fi
let
films?
me think of the last. I tried watching the Superman with Russell Crowe. I can't watch anything with him now.
All the Superman films are fucking atrocious. Every single one, all the new ones are bad as well. Except Justice League's pretty good. That's it. They're all terrible.
But exactly. Justice League. The name. Justice League.
They do in the film. They mock the name.
Justice.
They mock the name. Oh, okay. They mock each other's superhero names.
Oh shit! The joke's on me.
He's like, I'm Batman. He's like, you're the guy. He's like, Aquaman to him is he doesn't like being called Aquaman. They all keep each other these names. So he's like, you're some sort of Aquaman. It's like, and he's like pushes him. It's like, don't call me that and that sort of shit. And he's like, what are you? You're Batman. Man just as a bat, you're pathetic. It like pushes him. Like there's this thing between them. There's like that's the sort of way they act towards each other. They're like constantly talking each other's names. Ant-Man with Paul Rudd. You know who Paul Rudd is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in 40-Year-Old Virgin and
I know who Paul Rudd is.
I love Paul Rudd. He's an Ant-Man, and he gets given the suit by this guy, and it says you become the Ant-Man, and he just looks at him and goes, "Can we please change the name?" And whenever they see Ant-Man, he's still like, I'm still not keen on this name. And he's like constantly ripping the shit out of the name Ant-Man. Because the name Ant-Man was created in, like, I think it was like the 50s or something. So it's so silly, the concept of someone becoming the size of an ant. You know, and they take the mick out of that in the film. It is not like all, oh, it's Ant-Man. Okay, everyone just completely accepts it. And when there's like a guy...
I think something like that where it's in the real world to an extent I might be able to get my head around. But something like, I've got my head around Deadpool.
Maybe we have to build you up. Maybe
I watched Luke Cage.
Luke Cage is good. Luke Cage is a lot more realistic. What you have to do is like watch more and more fantasy-ish stuff with Marvel films, like superhero films or whatever films that you're into, with little hints of it, and eventually just build yourself up to it. I've always watched crazy films like, do you like Terminator and shit like that?
Nah, not really. That's. Do you know what I mean?
Like, well, that's robots. That's actually more of a possibility. That's more of a possibility.
Is it a robot?
What, Terminator?
I don't know how you can program a robot to have an Austrian accent.
Well, you just program a robot, and when they make vocal noises with their mouths, you make them learn from the way phonetically that Austrians speak. Just like when you read books that are in phonetic Scottish, like Over Moshe's Trainspotting, you read it phonetically, And
a robot. Oh, I'm not being funny. He looks slick in that film. A robot couldn't look that slick. I don't believe he's a robot. He's a
have you
bad
not
man.
seen the Japanese sex robots that look like humans?
Funnily enough, Michael,
It was on a Joe Rogan podcast before you started judging, and I bought one. No, I didn't actually. I have no interest in putting my penis in dolls. Would you get a fleshlight? I wouldn't personally, to be honest with you. I'm not that keen, mainly because of cleaning it out.
I have. Mate, what? That's disgusting. I was like, literally, like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna comment that. But that is disgusting.
I wouldn't get one.
Oh,
it's just
mate.
gross because you have to.
Yeah. Oh!
Can you imagine? You have to put. Some people put it in the dishwasher.
God.
Do you want some water?
Oh God, mate, nah. What's it? Oh, sorry, that's my fleshlight. Fucking hell! You got it in the fucking cafetiere. There's cum in the cafetiere. There's actual cum. That's disgusting.
At least I suppose the cafetiere would filter it out. You just get the nice taste without the stringiness.
You took that too far, mate.
So I rolled on.
You took that. That was out of order, mate.
I'm sorry, bro.
You went too far.
I never take anything too far, actually. I think you're fine. There you go, Johnny. Up on my phone, there's a picture of a Japanese sex robot.
Let's have a look.
There you go. Might even put this on the Instagram thing. That's one of the pictures. So, you know, that's what they look like. That's what one could look like. We're only in the early stages, mate. Think about 50 years ago, there was no concept of the internet. There was no DVDs. There was no phones in your pocket. 50 years in the future, think about how far it can go. I'm not keen on robots.
I think...
you are looking at it for a long time, bro.
Yeah, but I just can't, like... I can't get my head around something like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think you'd get something like that to do stuff that you couldn't do to a human. Like, if you're doing stuff like that to stuff you... Let me get my words out. If you're doing... do you know what? I'm not even going to give this... I'm not going to give it any airtime, mate. I'm not giving it any airtime. It's disgusting.
I'll tell you, here's a question.
Horrible.
Actually, how about this? Here's a question for you. Obviously, you and I both know that lots of people, including some of my friends, do have mental illnesses and stuff. There's some people who have social anxiety a lot. And I don't think any of my friends suffer from it this badly, especially I think they all have girlfriends or have had girlfriends. But when you have, like, if some people, there's a guy in Japan who has like a sex doll thing, and they said, why'd you have it? And he's like, I have such bad social anxiety, I can't talk to women, and I try, and I just get all sweaty, and I feel sick, and it just doesn't work, and I can't ever see myself having a happy relationship with a woman. I can't, and I'm not gay. So he just has this doll with some sort of comfort. He has like other friends. He has his normal friends life. It's just he has this thing that he uses.
Get a fucking dog and have a wank. Don't get it. That's gonna, having a doll like that is gonna.
But what
like,
if he has a job?
That's gonna fuck you up.
What if he has a job like he works nights and he can't have a dog? Where it's just like you can't put in enough time to take care of the dog if you work like a long shift.
Oh shit, tough shit. Life's hard. Like, don't get a fucking sex doll. It's weird.
So you think that someone should live?
That's not normal.
Someone should live a lower quality of life because you think something's
it's
gross.
not. Nah, it's not a lower quality of life.
It is
it's
if you're.
not.
If you've got
That's messed up.
No, it's
like,
just,
what
it's
you just showed
something,
me is messed up.
It's just taking something away from someone.
Like
I don't think there's any problem with people doing it in their own homes. I don't care. How is it any different from people dressing up as nurses and other things and fucking each other? To like, it's just a doll. Why is it any different from wanking with your hand? If it's not resembling like an actual person you know or a celebrity, that could get very strange. But like, if it's just like a random vague person and it's just you get pleasure out of it, why is that wrong from people drinking alcohol or taking drugs or eating food that's bad for you or doing things that you just enjoy? Why is there this thing in you that is so against anything sexual? You're very repressed.
Oh no! I'm just like, do you know what I mean? I'm not like.
You're British. You're very
No,
repressed.
yeah. It's just, you know.
You're wearing. Just so you know, everyone knows he's wearing a. You're wearing a cap that's like a Peaky Blinder cap. And what kind of coat are you wearing?
I think khaki, green.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's a green coat. And what band have you got on your t-shirt?
Happy Mondays.
There you go. And what's the jacket that you've got between your coat and your t-shirt?
Felis Satanta, red, big Fila logo. Not the small one.
That's a sporty sort of gear, because I would not know that by name. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't know your gear, do you, mate?
I know my bands, and I know my band t-shirts, and my brands.
I need to take you clothes shopping, mate.
How about you?
Honestly, I need to take you out, get you a decent haircut.
Oh, how dare you, sir?
Decent haircut.
How dare you, sir? You have the haircut of someone.
I'll take you down John Joe's.
You have the haircut. I actually drive past John Joe's. I actually drove past there today.
It's a local business.
Yeah, I drove past there actually the other day. No, I get my hair cut by my buddy Tom. His girlfriend Laura, she does haircuts. But my haircut now wasn't cut by her.
Does she not like you?
Very funny. Horrible person, Johnny. You've got the mod. You're the mod. You're kind of like a mod in a. It's.
Oh mate, honestly, I go into the barbers. And I was
like, mod and kind of Cockney and chav, but also slightly alternative. I like how you sometimes grow out a ginger beard. That's quite entertaining.
That's out of order.
It's out of order.
I can't help being ginger.
Mate, my beard.
Do you know what that is? That's racism.
Do you know what's funny is that my moustache is blonde and the rest of my facial hair on my beard is dark brown. That's what.
Yeah, it always looks like you drunk milk.
I know.
Like
I don't even drink milk. I don't like milk.
But it always looks like it.
I did drink a lot of milkshake when I was younger. Maybe that's it.
You're right, Mike. Yeah, got milk.
Nice, yeah. And I've got like a little dribble amount almost on my my little soul patch. The soul patch around my beard, just in between it all.
Leave that. You just shave it all off.
I have. There's a picture of me on Facebook with a cowboy hat, with
that's amazing.
With a full moustache. It looks blonde. It's blonde.
I'm not being funny. If I had that, I'd be using it to my advantage. Actually,
you'd be using a blonde handlebar moustache on a 23-year-old to your advantage. What are you talking about?
If I was you and I had the wonderful colouring that you've got in your beard, I'd be doing something more with it. I'm just saying, you have got some fantastic colouring in your beard.
I can't control it. It's not like a power.
It's fantastic, mate. It's great. I'd be using it to my advantage. I'd be, growing out the cheeks a bit, have a bit of stubble, keep the nice blonde tash, the white soul patch, and where it goes dark there, keep a nice beard. Sort of like David Brent beard.
Oh, God.
But,
David Brent from The Office. Jesus.
Like a skunk. And maybe you definitely need to work on your sideburn game. That's poor, mate.
You are 100% sideburn. You have no facial hair. That's your thing. My thing is my blonde moustache, brown beard.
That's cracking, actually. Now you've pointed it out, actually. I've always noticed it looks like you've got a milk moustache, but now you've pointed it out. Oh, mate, that's defined.
I cut as well. I've got two shavers, mate. I've got one shaver to make this completely gone and another shaver to keep this a certain length. But I've been growing this stuff out, actually.
Do you know what? I'm shocked that you take that much pride in your appearance. I'm shocked.
You are so horrible.
I'm shocked.
You are so mean. At least I know that you love me, so it's okay.
All right, now the thing is, mate. The thing is, like, because I'm not the cleverest bloke, I'll argue points that I don't have any foundation to have.
I know people are gonna have to listen to both parts of this podcast to listen to this,
and that happens on a daily basis.
I know, because you love it. It's funny as fuck.
Sometimes I think there's a quote in The Office. Michael Scott, he says sometimes my mouth just starts talking and I don't know what's coming out, but I can't stop it. And that's me, mate. That is me down to a T. Where I'm not that clever, I run out. I have to go after people about their clothes and their appearance.
I know, I love it
because I take so much pride in mine.
It's fantastic,
and I'm the best dressed bloke I know.
At work, it's brilliant because you'll come downstairs. I love it on Fridays. You wear the best stuff. It's all I do. I
wear the best stuff every day. Let's have it right, mate.
I do rip on you for it, but it's especially on the days where you can wear whatever you want. It's fantastic. But I just wear my casual sort of ish gear that's suitable for work, jeans and some sort of t-shirt. And
yeah, it comes in looking like shit warmed up to quote
How
someone.
fucking dare you, sir? I've got my nice chill style to me. Chill but organised. Everyone's dream. It's definitely not. Chill but organised unless you get me talking about something and I just don't stop. That's just a verbal waterboard. Just comes at you non-stop.
It's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant that you've got this platform.
I don't know about that.
And you definitely dressed for the radio.
Yeah, I'm currently wearing, let's see, Star Wars pajama bottoms, socks that say Wednesday on them, just to make sure I know. I've got a blank grey top that my friend Sophie got me for Christmas, and I've got a salt rock.
Does she not like you?
Well, I think she does. It's quite comfy. It's a very, very comfy top, so I like it. I think it looks good. And the salt rock hoodie I've got is really thick, and the inside of it is all fleecy.
I would rather be stylish and uncomfortable than.
And that's the difference between you and me, because you don't like talking about or doing things that make you feel uncomfortable, whereas I will just do stuff that makes me uncomfortable sometimes just to see what sort of shit it is. There is a line.
But on the flip side, like, I will wear something that will make me feel uncomfortable to make me look stylish. I will wear, like, you know,
you're more about punishing yourself. You're more about punishing yourself physically to get a positive reward from people, as opposed to trying to negate your own mental walls to stop yourself. Like, you put up these walls inside your own head, and you find it's easier to make yourself a physical discomfort than to have to, in your mind, go through those walls and get through it. And like, this makes me really uncomfortable. I want to get through this to try and make myself feel better potentially. But it's like, no, I don't want to make myself that first step of making myself feel uncomfortable.
No, I yeah, to an extent, yeah, I guess so.
But you're much more brilliant than you think you are. You're much more. You work at a. Well, you work as an insurance broker, but it's like, so do I. I work with you, to a degree, in different departments and stuff. But it's like, you have to have a degree of intellect to figure that out. And when you apply yourself, you know loads about the music you like and certain like quotes from The Office and things like. I can't quote The Office. I got no fucking idea. I can barely remember any of it.
Every day, mate. Every day.
See, we've got
in The Office.
Just because the thing is, I just talk fast a lot, and I just remember little details about stuff. And the thing is, if you remember little details, what happens is one detail leads to another. And I don't. If you say to me, right, tell me everything about Star Wars right now, I'd be like, I have no fucking idea where to start. But if you say, right, the first episode, what happens at the start, go from there, or give me a vague description of the Force or something. If you did something like that, I could then go off on a big tangent, and eventually I would cover generally everything. But if you say go, I need some sort of jumping off point, and that's it. That's the only thing. I've just always got another tangent to go on, whereas a lot of people run out of steam.
Yeah,
that's not intelligence. That's not intelligence. It's just how I'm wired. I'm not necessarily.
That's the art of discussion and just conversation,
that's just one thing.
which is something.
You're
that...
a musician. I'm not. I can't play instruments. I can play keyboard to an incredibly amateur level. I used to play a little bit in school and I got like a grade in it, but I was never really into it. But I can't do music. I'm not. That's not how I roll. I can't. I've got a vague amount of rhythm to a degree. I can like, do like Guitar Hero drums, which is basically similar to actual drumming, but it's way simplified. It's got a bass pedal and actual things. Like, I can't actually drum in any way, shape or form, but just the rhythm basis. Reese has taught me a couple of times. Reese is a drummer. There's certain little things that he's taught me that I've completely forgotten now, obviously, but he does like a drum thing, like a little fill. And after a few goes, I've got the hand-eye coordination, so I can potentially got the rhythm aspect of it. I just haven't put any work in it. Yeah, but it's not set up. Yeah, but it's like I haven't applied myself, therefore I'm not good at it. As simple as that. And if I'm not saying I could be good at really intense, ridiculously difficult stuff because I haven't tested myself that far. But things that are low level, I can do that to a degree, but I can't because I have no idea how to drum. If you gave me a drum kit now and said do it, I'd be like, no fucking idea.
Yeah, it's
but
weird.
You can play an instrument.
Yeah,
just because I can talk to people.
I can just pick up. But
yeah, but that's my thing. I can talk to people. That's my jam, and I pick up little bits of knowledge in little pieces, and I can kind of thread them together and make it sound like I know things. Whereas other people just find it harder to connect the dots sometimes. And that doesn't make you any less intelligent. It's just certain ways that your mind works. I'm incredibly organised. My mind is all compartmentalised. That's how I think.
How do you define intelligence though? That's the thing. I mean, if we were to sit an exam, like I said earlier, I've only got 5 GCSEs, but I think if I took, if I had my time again, I'd do it completely differently, and I wouldn't just have those 5 GCSEs, but because I was a child,
because of
circumstance,
I
couldn't deal with the pressure of exams.
Same in me in college. I did quite badly in college.
Yeah, me too.
But I did fine. When I did the apprenticeship, I did almost top marks, and I did that. That was afterwards. You had to go to college for a year and do an apprenticeship while you're doing a job. I did that. Did completely perfectly because I was fine with that. But in college, I didn't, and I didn't have that mindset. I was out of place. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I was doing all these grades. I didn't want to go to pursue a career in any of the qualifications I was getting. My dad got ill. It was just all these horrendous things were happening. And I was like, I couldn't focus. And now I can I could take those sorts of exams without too much trouble, because if I apply myself, I've learned to discipline myself to crack down.
Absolutely, yeah, because you are mentally prepared.
But that's what you've done. You say at work, you've got this persona almost as your work person, this work Johnny. Well, I've got Mike. I've got work Mike. Everyone's got their work persona. Depending on where you work, depends on how you act. When I was working at Utilita for the month, I acted completely differently to the way I act there, because there was way more discipline. It was not a chilled atmosphere at all. It was very tense all the time. It was like you can't really, on the odd occasion someone would just talk about something and you kind of go off on a little tangent, but it was never chill. It was never like making jokes about stuff or like that degree. And then when I was at Wisbit, it was loads of that. It was way more lax, but it was like a even smaller company. It's all about production, so you can be chatting while doing stuff, because you don't actually need to focus on anything. You can just like if you're stickering things or just putting CDs in cases or something like that. So it's just like different parts of jobs that you go into, you act differently, and as you grow, you also change the work persona and what your role becomes. If you became a manager, you'd have to become more managerial, and at the start it would be difficult, but eventually you'd have to adapt.
But it'd be like in any workplace. If you have to carry yourself a certain way for the role that you're doing. Yeah. You have to conduct yourself, and if it's like, so I know you're not into your football, but so Steve McLaren, right? He was England's number 2.
Right.
Manager. He was he was the assistant manager.
Yeah.
And he was all their mates, and he was on first name terms with all the players, and they'd call him Steve, and he was mate, and they were all pally. Anyway, he takes over as manager, and he says, "Oh lads, I want you to call me Gaffer," and he can't be pally with these boys anymore.
Yeah.
And because he actually couldn't let go of that sort of pally mentality.
Yeah.
And he had his favourites kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's and it's documented that's part of the reason why England failed in 2008. I know you couldn't give a toss about that.
No, I am interested in the way things like that work. As I said, there's no subject that I don't know anything about sport or cars, but I'm still happy to listen to people talk about them. If you start talking about like an incredibly in-depth breakdown of a match that was on yesterday, I'd be like, okay, let's just not talk about this, because the small amount of people
we could do.
But the small amount of people who would actually know what that is and listen to that.
Name a footballer, Michael.
I can't name a single one that I know is playing right now.
You're not aware of Harry Kane.
Ronaldo, I think.
Cristiano Ronaldo. You're not aware of Harry Kane. He's one of our own. He's one of our own.
The thing is, I'm interested to a degree in.
He's one of our own.
I like conversation, but think about it this way, okay? The majority of conversations you have, you don't actually remember them in full detail.
Dele Alli.
Like, how many conversations can you legitimately think about? Even when you've got memories of families or when you had a laugh with your mates, I can't even remember 1% of any conversation I've ever had. Yesterday, I could not, if you said to write down a transcript of what I've had, I could probably do for every half an hour of talking, maybe 1 or 2 words of vague subjects, maybe, at the fucking best, okay? Work could be a little bit easier because it's a bit more regimented, so it'd be easier to split apart. But being in here with the guys, just chatting about stuff or playing Smash Bros or playing whatever, or having a few drinks, it's impossible to remember it. But what you do is you link certain little things, pieces of information to certain people, and maybe if I talk to Reese, I go, oh yeah, I remember I was talking about this with you, or I talk about something and I just know that he knows about this thing. If you say, what does Reese know? I'd go, I don't know what Reese knows. But if I'm talking to him and then I talk about a new game that's out, I just know he knows about that game. And that's kind of what happens with humans talking, and that's what probably a lot of social issues come from, with anxiety and also some of the more like serious disorders in the sense of less understanding disorders, so more like Asperger's and autism.
Yeah.
Some of those, it's not being able to connect dots in the right ways for conversation, not be able to read other people's body language and doing all those sorts of things. So everyone processes social situations differently. So it's kind of just about that. It's just the way you remember things. But like, I'm happy to talk about football, knowing that 2008, obviously England lost. I didn't know that. I assume they did because I know they haven't won since 1974.
No, it was actually 2007. They didn't qualify for Euro 2008.
When did they win the
1966 World Cup?
66.
2 World Wars and 1 World Cup. That's not me. That wasn't me that sung that. That wasn't me.
That's fine, mate. I'm just not sport, this is one of those things where this is probably the same sort of thing with you have the opposite of. You can't immerse yourself in fantasy. Maybe if you try enough at some point you could get into it. But with me, my only real issue with sport is my same thing that I have as an issue with soap operas in a way. Which is there are only a finite amount of things that can actually happen and there's no end.
It's so funny that you are talking about this, mate, because recently I have become obsessed with The Bill.
The Bill. Is it still going?
No, I had to look it up on YouTube. I'm on series 21.
How many series are there?
Oh, mate, too many to count. It's like, I think it's up to 24 and there's 50, 60 episodes a season. Because you have to think that this was on 2-3 times a week at its peak. And episodes are 45 minutes. That's a soap. It's basically a soap opera. Oh my god, mate, I'm so hooked. Do you remember The Bill?
Yeah, I know what it is, the cop show.
It's more than a cop show.
It's probably a lot less than a cop show.
They've got this tiny little borough in London, right? And it's like you say, that only so many things can happen. There can only be the turnover in criminals in this place is phenomenal.
I know. It's just there's only same as all soap operas and all sports games. If you have certain people play against each other, obviously with football, it's basically there's more intricate things of passing and doing certain. Kicking the ball in certain ways and all sorts of other tactics.
The best thing that you can do is not talk about football.
But the problem is that I have with sport in that sort of way. I've got a big problem with it. I don't mind other people liking it, but the only reason I'm not into it is but this year maybe Southampton are the best, but then next year they're not, and it's what's the point in any? What's the point in any year caring what any of them are on top if the only outcomes when you're watching them on a pitch the average is 3 goals a game, maybe 2. So you're watching an hour and a half of people. Of 22 people running up and down with one ball, and just passing it to each other. And it's out of all the sports in the entire world, it is by far the most boring to me. Speed, motorbikes racing and F1 and or even volleyball and stuff is such faster pace. Tennis is quite quick. All these sort of things. You just get football and it's so slow. And it's the least amount of...
Mate, now you've said all of that about football.
You think you hate me?
Do you know what? You're right. It is really, really boring. I've wasted so much time.
There we go. You're just going to...
In my life.
There it is.
Obviously watching football and playing football.
No. Playing football is a different story. Playing football is a completely different story to watching it. Completely different. I'm completely 100% for playing football. I like playing football. Hands down. Playing football is fun. If you play it with mates who don't take themselves... If you want to take it really seriously and play it with other mates who take it seriously, that's fine.
There's no point doing anything if you're not going to take it seriously.
I mean, seriously, but complete ridiculous slide tackling, kicking people in this, unsportsmanly. I can't be arsed with that, and kicking the ball really hard at each other. I can't be fucked with that. So
I've done that to Lucy's nephew. We have a little bit of fun with it.
If you have a bit of banter with a family,
kicking each other.
Yeah, if you have a little bit of banter with your family, not being serious and then fucking decking each other and shit. But it's
slide tackles.
Yeah, but that's if in jest it can be fine. But I'm just, with people who are on the same wavelength of what kind of game you want to play, I'm fine with that. I think it's enjoyable. It's a fun game. It's a lot of exercise. I get it. I completely get it. But when you play as a team, there's less people and it's way smaller. There's way more chances for goals. It's way more close and exciting. You can get a good kick and almost get a goal really easily. With an actual proper football game that's in the World Cup, the pitch is so huge, it takes fucking forever to go anywhere. And the amount of times I've seen games, I've been to a football game and I've seen a few matches on TV, and it's I've got no problem with people enjoying this in any way, shape or form, but in this exact same style that you were saying you don't get fantasy and all stormtroopers. For me, it's just he's kicking the ball over there. He's kicking the ball over there. Oh, he's kicking it over there. What's he going to do? Well, he can only literally kick it around this specific area every time. And you watch the certain players do this for an hour and a half, and there's only a specific amount of finite things that can actually happen. It's just, to me, I watch it and I'm just so not into it. But once again, I want to say, I have absolutely no problem with anyone else enjoying it because I know how ridiculous some of the shit I like.
You can have that, mate. You can on the same token as me watching Star Wars. We can watch Tottenham.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll I don't know if we'll have to do that. Like me watch an hour and a half of football and you watch 2 hours of a sci-fi movie and we just talk over them. Could be funny though one day. I should probably show you Star Wars one day. Maybe you just have a billion questions. I'll answer all of them. But it is. Jonny has just realised the time. This is going to be a short podcast. He's going to be leaving about, what, an hour? No, more than that. Over an hour ago. You're going to be leaving about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Man, I'm doing terrible on out of time. You're planning on leaving 2 hours ago, mate.
How long have we done the podcast for?
The first episode was 59 minutes, and this one is currently 1 hour and 7 minutes.
We've just put the world to rights.
We've done it.
Put the world to rights.
That's
absolutely.
it. We've sorted.
We've
solved the world's problems.
For the last couple of hours that I've spoken any sense.
Nope.
And I don't think.
Actually, no, you have. You've said a lot of insightful things. Think about it. You've just said a lot of stupid things as well. But that's all part of it. It's fun.
Yeah, mate.
It's having a chat. We're just having a laugh.
I've really, really enjoyed it. I think
no point to it other than just having a laugh.
Yeah, it's just
the silliness and the brilliance of our minds combined, wasn't it? Just a roller coaster for anyone listening.
But I've got to get home to Lucy and Rodney.
That's the couple that Jonny lives with.
That's good. That's good. You can have that.
No, it's his partner and his dog, his partner Rodney, and
very good.
There, once again, another one. Yeah,
Very
obviously your partner Lucy and your dog Rodney. Anyway, it's a pleasure having you on here, Jonny. We'll have to come on here again and just talk absolute nonsense, just about nothing. A few months down the line, just happen again. Just talk about nothing.
One last question.
Yeah.
And then you just got to press stop. Do you like Star Wars?
I do. And that's the end of part 2. Thanks as always for tuning in, guys. Next week, I'm not fully sure what episode's going to be released. It'll either be the one with me and Josh and Reese talking about transgender issues, or it'll be one I'll be recording this week. I've got a few in the pipeline that I'm recording sort of here and there. I'm kind of running out of my backlog because I normally have quite a few recorded in advance. So I'm trying to kind of build those numbers up again just to make sure that you guys don't get like, with Josh, for example, the Science But Simple ones, they're really easy to record because he lives with me, so we can just record them anytime. But I don't want to release like one Science But Simple episode every couple of weeks or so. I kind of want to spread them out a little bit. So yeah, I'm just recording a few more at this time, so I can't guarantee what next week's one will be. So as I always say when I don't know, I haven't decided, it'll be an adventure. At the start of the podcast, I also said about my movie reviews for Coco, Downsizing, and Early Man. That was it. And yeah, so I've already recorded that. I recorded it inadvertently in the intro, then it sounded a bit too long and drawn out, and I was like, certain people probably won't want to hear me talk about movies for 2 minutes who are listening to the start of this. So yeah, I'm gonna probably pop that in inorganically here. Coco, the new Disney film, absolutely amazing, fantastic, one of the best of the ones that have been out recently. Not quite as good as Moana, I'd say, but still absolutely stellar. Great message. I really recommend that. Early Man, which is the stop animation claymation made by Nick Park, who made Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run and Creature Comforts. Another really, really great movie. I'd probably say it's not quite as good as Coco, but it's pretty close. It's funny. It's clever. Just everything about it's brilliant. If you like Wallace and Gromit or Chicken Run, then you'll definitely like this. It's a great one to take the kids to, just like Coco is, but for slightly different reasons. Early Man's a bit more innocent and almost naive in a little bit of ways. It's a bit more comical and that sort of thing. Whereas Coco's got certain tones in it that are more serious. But I think they both are fantastic movies. If you've got kids or haven't, you should go see both of them anyway. And I also saw Downsizing. Downsizing's had a lot of people whinging about it and saying it's awful. I can sympathise. I can get that. I mean, I think it's about 70-ish, 70% I think on my review on I Am Movies. I think I gave that review. But yeah, Downsizing, it's fairly good. It's a bit of a mess in the sense that it seemed to not really know what genre it wanted to be. But yeah, so it's got a lot of that to it. Just mixing here and there. It's not that funny. It's not that heartwarming, but it is at points and places. It's just kind of, it falls a bit flat. Nothing about it is really that spectacular. So yeah, it's an alright movie. Enjoyable, but nothing that spectacular. So do with that what you will. I'm not going to say it is or isn't worth a watch. It's your own opinion. Go see it if you want to. It is 2 hours and 15 minutes long. But why not? Give it a go. Anyway, guys, thanks as always for tuning in. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us on YouTube and all the usual podcast apps, which I imagine you have, because that's probably where you're listening to us. And also, if you get a moment, please review us on iTunes or wherever, because, yeah, it does make a difference, and it's really nice to hear feedback. So thanks as always, guys, and I'll speak to you next week.